Take a deep breath. Tune into the beating of your heart and awaken to a fresh perspective. Welcome to See More with Morcie, your go-to podcast for a fresh perspective on your spiritual and entrepreneurial journey. Effortless action. Effortless action. This term might sound counterintuitive, especially in the world of entrepreneurship. How can an action be effortless? How can one do something without effort? And how can something effortless involve any form of action? When you dive into the essence of this profound concept, you understand. You will understand. In fact, you'll probably recognize that you've done something effortlessly. Effortless action was a part of something you've done before. It's not completely foreign to you. Effortless action is when you're flowing with the natural rhythm of life rather than struggling against it. When you find that you're listening to business experts and business gurus, you may hear them speak about getting your business off the ground as soon as possible. Making X amount of money as soon as possible. Getting this amount of clients as soon as possible. And if you don't, it was a mindset thing. You were too negative. You were in your lower mindset. You just didn't believe. And all that does is create guilt, shame, self-doubt. Not only does it bring upon these unnecessary accumulation of feelings, these heavy feelings, but it normalizes urgency. It normalizes taking action with haste and force. So ultimately, everything you do, you're pushing, you're striving, you're hustling. This creates burnout. This creates dissatisfaction. In fact, it might even make you question why you even did this in the first place, right? For many of us, we chose to step into this world of entrepreneurship for our own fulfillment, to step into purpose. So we're stepping out of wasting our time working for someone else or something else. It just doesn't make us happy. And it's not to say that there's anything wrong with anyone else who chooses a path other than entrepreneurship. I'm just stating the reason why someone would choose, right? Why you would choose entrepreneurship. By the end of this podcast episode, you will know why and how embracing the art of effortless action, how it can transform your entrepreneurial journey and your spiritual and your personal journey. I'll share with you some practices that you can invite into your daily life. And you'll know how to center yourself, ground yourself, so you're walking on a path where you're feeling truly fulfilled. You know that each action you take is sustainable. It's built for the long term. This is how you begin to love your life, live your life, right? Life is a journey. Life is a process in and of itself. If you're not loving the process, if you're not loving the journey, you're not going to enjoy life. It's not to say that life doesn't come with its struggles It's not to say that life doesn't come with its pain. Life is difficult and it's beautiful. And the funny thing about that is that life is always reminding us of that, right? Effortless action. Effortless action lies within a Taoist philosophy. Wu Wei. Wu Wei, it talks about aligning our actions with our true nature and the natural flow of life. It's about doing what feels right rather than forcing things to happen. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're passive or that you're lazy. It means that you are in tune with your true nature. This means being still and tapping in to you. As an entrepreneur, it's important that you learn what works for you. When you're working for anyone else, they're creating their own flow for their business, whatever they consider it to be. Most of the time, it's pretty cookie cutter. And a lot of us have experienced this feeling of not fitting in to a certain company you may work for or a place you might work for. It doesn't necessarily mean that that place is fundamentally just evil or wrong, but you may just not fit in, right? It's important that on your journey, you learn how to tap into your natural flow. Sure, this will take trial and error, but that aspect of tuning into a natural flow, tuning into your natural flow, it's what allows you to understand how to move with the ebb and flow of life. When I tap into the essence of effortless action, it reminds me of the phrase, nature never hurries, but it's always on time. Nature never hurries, but it's always on time. It makes you think about when you go out into nature and you see the way nature works, there's some form of harmony there. Yes, nature can be brutal, okay? I know nature can be brutal. It can definitely be a dog-eat-dog world out there. But when I talk about nature, I'm talking about the essence of its natural connectedness with the universe. As the seasons change, nature changes with the seasons. Bears know it's time to hibernate. Birds know it's time to fly off somewhere. There's a natural knowing. The bear isn't pushing against the fact that snow is coming and it has to eat as much as possible and hibernate somewhere. It's not pushing against that flow, it's working with it. Often within your own entrepreneurial journey, you'll have an idea in your mind about what your end goal should look like, what your business goals should look like, you might be a content creator and use YouTube or any other form of social media. And you might have a goal, I want X amount of followers by this time, X amount of engagement by this time. But it doesn't work out that way, no matter how hard you try. In that moment, it is a recognition of learning how to let go, learning how to recognize what is in your control and what's not, and no longer push against the struggle. It doesn't even have to be a struggle when you step back and you're tuned in. You know, oh, it's time to pull away. Oh, I've done enough. It's time to pull away. A big aspect of effortless action is recognizing when enough is enough. And this comes from tuning in. I know for myself, it's come from deep meditation. It's come from scanning my inner body. There will be moments when I'm working on my book And my goal was to finish the chapter in a day, finish one chapter in a day. But it's already been 2 hours. I've been working on it straight. I'm going on about 2 hours, 30 minutes or so. And I could feel my body is just telling me, take a break. My brain is fried. When I tune in and I honor that, I recognize, okay, the flow right here, it's complete. I can finish this chapter tomorrow. In that space, urgency doesn't exist. Survival mode doesn't exist. It's a natural awareness of the flow of that moment. Recognizing that that energy that I put in that moment, I'd given what it was meant to be given, right? When I think about the effortless action, what also comes to mind is divine timing. Divine timing. Divine timing is when you recognize that everything happens for a reason. It happens in the time that it's supposed to. Not necessarily in the time that our mind told us when, but in the time of how the universe and life has found it to be the perfect time. When you step outside of your own bubble of your mind, you recognize that every event is interconnected and interdependent. You might have received something. You might have received an influx of follows. Your business might had an increase in profit due to events that were outside of your awareness. One event led to another, cause and effect outside of your awareness. The universe was working on that. Life was working on that. Some might say God was working on that, right? Either way, it's tapping into that natural flow, tapping into your spirit and recognizing, okay, delays and setbacks, it's not really an inconvenience, but it's aligning me with a better outcome. It's aligning me with what I'm meant to have and who I'm meant to be. You step into effortless action and you allow yourself to live and be here fully in the moment. Recognize and step into your purpose and know that life is now. That's what I find is a key aspect in effortless action. It's not always about every day waking up and only focusing on the end goal. The end goal is going to be there. It will be in your mind. You don't have to completely get rid of it. You don't have to completely forget it. It's going to be there, but it doesn't need to be your focus when you recognize that life is now, when you're here living present in the moment. That's how you're in tune with life. That's how you actually experience true productivity. Not a productivity that is placed into your mind that benefits someone else or some other company, but a productivity that works with you. It works with your natural flow. Your natural flow might be different than my natural flow. It might be different than another individual's natural flow. But this is the aspect of your journey where you learn to trust yourself, where you recognize that your entrepreneur growth is directly correlated to your personal growth and your own self-awareness. So you're not burning out. So you do build habits that are long-term and sustainable. That offer that long-term growth and sustainability. I find that asking myself the question, another practical way of stepping into this art of effortless ease is asking yourself when a task begins, right? How can I make this easy? How can I make this feel effortless? and allow what comes to you to come to you. Recognize when that survival mindset arises, where you feel a sense of fear. Perhaps when you ask the question, how can I make this easy? Perhaps you say, all right, I'll just work on this for an hour and then move on to the next. But then the survival mindset comes and says, oh no, that's not enough. You need to work on this some more so you can get it done by this time, and then it's out as soon as possible. But when you step back and you look at that, you may recognize, that's going to burn me out. I'm not going to be willing to continue to do this in the long run. When you're able to ask yourself, how can I make this easy? You open that space for effortless action. You open that space for being in flow. And it feels like you're not trying. It feels like you're enjoying it. You feel like, this is exactly why I chose to do this. Because you've chosen to remain rooted in your values. It's easy to step into this world and see all the rewards that you might hear about entrepreneurship, right? Not many people step into this world. It's high risk, high reward. And so many might be blindsided by the high reward. And you ultimately sell your soul in ways in order to receive those high rewards. Stay rooted in purpose. Stay rooted in your values. That's what makes this journey worth it. That's what makes it fulfilling. That's what makes it personal. It's the reason why you keep doing it. Three key words to give you an idea of what represents effortless ease, effortless action. Slowness, meticulousness. Is that a word? Slow, meticulous, and diligent. All right? Don't be afraid to go slow. When you go slow, you allow yourself to be meticulous. You're planning so that you're not putting in more effort than what you need. Right? Nature never hurries, but it's always on time. Nature uses the least amount of effort possible to make things happen. When you choose to slow down and be meticulous, you too are using the least amount of energy and effort possible, allowing yourself to flow. Diligence comes with continuously doing it, continuously taking those steps. A little every day, it goes a very long way. It takes you far. I speak from personal experience. I actually have that phrase written on an index card in my room. So every time I wake up, I remind myself a little every day goes a long way, because I know what it's like to fall into the idea of needing to do more, especially if you live in a Western society, especially if you live in the United States. You know the energy around here. You know what it's like and how work life can completely drain you. I found that in order to untether myself from these ideas and concepts that are constantly surrounding society, I always dive into my go-to meditation, which is observing thought. When you observe thought, you become aware of the rising and falling of thought without reacting to it. The rising and falling of the feelings of urgency, the feelings of haste and rush and striving. You become aware of it without believing it, without stepping into that energy, but recognizing, I can choose. I don't have to rush. I can step into an energy of wealth in this moment, an energy of thriving in this moment. I created a course called Beyond the Chatter. This course teaches you just that. To break free from those negative thoughts and sink into inner stillness. When you sink into inner stillness, you allow yourself to become aware of the natural flow of life. You allow yourself to actually experience effortless action without fear. Fear does not exist there in stillness. You're one with the moment, in flow with the moment, in a flow state with the moment. You're not burnt out. I encourage you to enroll in this course. It's easy, a couple videos, a couple audio that you listen to, just as you're listening to this podcast episode. And within it, I wrote a book speaking directly to entrepreneurs, speaking directly to content creators, influencers, athletes, coaches, where you have certain thoughts of fears that might be stopping you from fulfilling your mission, from fulfilling your purpose, from moving with purpose, moving with effortless action. If you find that you would like to invite this energy into your life, I encourage you to enroll in Beyond the Chatter. Effortless action, non-doing. As long as you step into the world, you invite it into your life, it will show you what it will look like. Visualize, tune into your body, meditate, and be diligent with these practices, because when you honor your spiritual journey, you honor your personal, emotional, mental journey, it directly reflects into the way you run your business. And you will find that you are enjoying this. You will find that, this is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, not just for the reward, but because of the journey. Thank you for being here with me in this see more space where we see beyond what the eyes can see. My name is Morcie. As always, breathe on purpose. Lead with your heart and give thanks for a fresh perspective.